One of my favorite things to do in video games is to execute a plan perfectly, repeating a mission over and over until I get it exactly right, whether it's only killing the target in a Hitman mission, making it all the way through a Splinter Cell level without being seen by a single guard, or completing an objective in Dishonored the non-lethal way. Basically, I love a kind of game that doesn't come around all that often anymore. But tactical games of all kinds used to be far more common. One type that has almost completely disappeared is the tactical squad-based shooter, games like the older Rainbow Six and Ghost Recon titles. Today, we're looking at SWAT 4, which, as the name might suggest, has you playing as the leader of a SWAT squad of 4 other people, not unlike other games in the genre. What ends up differentiating a lot of games in my mind is not only the number of tactical options you have, but also their relevance to what you're doing. If there are tactical options that the game gives you but you never use, then they aren't particularly useful. And as soon as you start making your way through the game's tutorial, it's clear you at the very least have a lot of options. And in the moment, all of your options seem overwhelming. Pointing at a door and right-clicking brings up this huge contextual menu. You can command your squad in pairs, look through body cameras attached to them, control snipers positioned on nearby rooftops. The list goes on and on. And then, once you're done with the tutorial, you're immediately presented with your first mission, with a lengthy description of the scenario, a drawn-out floor plan of the building you're entering, the choice between lethal and non-lethal weaponry of all sorts, and at this point, I'm just sitting here thinking, what the hell did I get myself into? But once you actually start playing the game, everything flows incredibly well. You get used to the terms for everything, the tactical choices you have for every situation become clear quite rapidly, and it all happens organically in a very intuitive way, without the need to peruse any manuals or replay the tutorial multiple times. You really do feel in command of your squad, except when you don't. As one might expect from a game with so much choice and freedom on the part of the player, the AI can often have problems figuring out what you want it to do. Beyond the almost expected issues with AI getting stuck or struggling to find their way around an obstacle, there were times where I would just lose my ability to control them effectively, with them no longer responding to any commands, or only responding to a few of them. When the game first came out, there was a relatively easy way to get around all these problems. You could just play the online co-op. But this is one of those many PC games that relied on GameSpy for its online play, so all of the default server browser functionality is completely dead. There is at least one mod that connects the game to a new server browser, but that doesn't fix the problem that very few people are actually playing it. Now, you can still theoretically play co-op with friends using the new master server, direct IP connection, or LAN, but I'm going to assume that most people aren't going to make that leap, and honestly, that's okay. The game's AI is perfectly serviceable despite my complaints, and more importantly, when I did have major issues with squad members being non-responsive, a reset of the mission I was playing almost always fixed the problem, something I was doing quite regularly thanks to the game's practice of having every mission be a completely individual entity. And just like the best tactical games, I felt myself constantly coming back to missions, perfecting my technique, figuring out how best to approach the scenario, sometimes forced to do so by the game, but oftentimes of my own volition. The AI has its issues, and they're impossible to ignore, don't get me wrong, but the game is absolutely worth playing despite them. SWAT 4 offers an incredibly intuitive form of tactical gunplay in both lethal and non-lethal forms, with amazing attention to detail and vast amounts of choice for the player across a slew of different scenarios. Sadly, SWAT 4 is somewhat difficult to get a hold of these days. There is nowhere to buy the game digitally, and physical copies are mildly rare, demanding anywhere between $20 and $50 on the used market. I can't make a value judgment for anyone but myself, but for me, it's absolutely worth the price. Every Monday, I look at a game that is at least 10 years old, a game I would consider to be retro, and I judge it in a modern context. What is this like now, especially when it comes to online games? Does that even still work? If you like that idea, be sure to subscribe so you can see the latest videos. If you like this video in particular, be sure to hit that like button, and thanks for watching.